Hello, and welcome to today's lesson of Zentangle Project Pack number 22 and the 12 days of Zentangle 2023. This is Julie Willand, and I am so happy to be here with you all today as we continue to explore this wonderful project pack. I am working with the Project Pack number 22 materials. So we have these wonderful pre-strung tiles. We have the phi tiles and then these awesome new 5 by 5 tiles. If you haven't watched the Zentangle Project Pack number 22 video, I encourage you all to head over there, and Molly explains these materials and the inspiration behind this wonderful project pack. If you do not have the Project Pack number 22 materials with you, as always, we encourage you to follow along with whatever you have at home. But the Project Pack is available on Zentangle.com and from some of our certified Zentangle teachers. So today I'm going to get my materials ready. I am working with this pre-strung phi tile. And then I'm going to grab my tools here. I have a brown Micron 05, a black Micron 01. Use a jelly roll pen. I'm going to use this lovely color, and then all of my pencils in Tortillon. So the chalk pencils, my graphite, and my white charcoal. And to begin, we're going to take a moment of gratitude and appreciation. And when you're done, you can join me by picking up your Micron 01 in black. And I'm going to begin in this space right here. So I'm going to find that first line in the spiral and work in the space to the left of it. And today we are going to do Enzeppeled Hollaba. And so I'm going to start with one line across my space that curves out at the top and the bottom, just like so. And then I'm going to draw another line that curves out in the opposite direction at the top, but then auras that first line, curving out at the bottom. So this is a band that's just a little bit wider at the top and bottom. I'm going to turn my tile, and I'm going to begin to draw my second band, again curving out at the top just a little bit, and the bottom. And when I hit that first bar I put down, I'm just going to pick up my pen, but imagining that it goes right down behind it and coming out the other side. Turning my tile and filling my space with these intersecting bars, going this way and that way. No real rhyme or reason. Focusing on one line at a time. You'll notice here at the bottom, I'm just putting a line, but I'm stopping where my string stops. And once you have come to a point where you feel like you have added all of the bars that you want to add, we're then going to go back, and at the top and bottom, where I've flared out my ends, I'm just going to cap them. And now here comes the enzeppeled part. I'm going to pretend as if I'm smushing a ball inside these spaces. by redefining the line until I get to the corner, and then I'm rounding the corner, redefining the line, rounding the corner, redefining the line, and rounding the corner. And I'm going to do this inside each space, smushing that little Nerf ball or egg or whatever it is you're imagining into each space. Taking my time to redefine each of those lines, to round each of those corners. And there, I filled my entire space with Zentangle Hollibah. And so now I'm going to skip the space directly to the left of it and jump to the next one. And I'm going to do the same thing, drawing that first line with my ends curved slightly at the top and bottom, drawing my second line, putting my next bar drawn behind that first one, each bar slightly wider at the top and at the bottom. Randomly placed all around my space. They're randomly placed, but each line is drawn deliberately, which I feel like those two words can be a bit of an oxymoron at times. I'm going to fill my entire space with my Hollibah lines. So now I have completed my second space of Hollibah and Zentangle. Capped all my ends and I've squished that little ball into each of those spaces. So I'm going to cap my black micron and I'm going to pick up my brown micron 05. And now I'm going to work in all the spaces that I have skipped. And I'm going to be filling these spaces with what we would use to fill traditional Marasu. And so I'm going to begin, I'll start here so you can see a little bit better. But drawing a curved line that goes from one side to the other. And then I'm going to move down that string a little bit and draw another curved line, creating a band, but the top of my band is going to be wider than the bottom. And then I'm going to fill the space with ink. And I did draw over a little bit of my Hollibah and Zentangle there to fill it in. Then I'm going to leave a space, move further down my string, and do the same thing. And I'm going to go back and do these small spaces, going right to the center of my spiral. And then I'm going to do the same thing in this space here. closer I am to the center, the smaller my bands are. But as we move through my spiral, they're going to get bigger and bigger. I've recently returned to work after taking a few months off. In the beginning of the summer, I welcomed my second son into this world. Many of you have sent your well wishes, and I really appreciate that. The Zentangle community is such a wonderful one, so I really thank you all for that. But I have been slowly easing my way back into the wonderful world of Zentangle. And Molly had asked me if I was up for doing some Project Pack videos upon my return, which was quite a silly question because a Project Pack devoted to spirals has my name written all over it. So I was more than happy, in fact, looking forward to this Project Pack. I do love the spirals. Many of you know that Marisu is my favorite tangle. So we weren't going to get through this Project Pack without doing something related to that. So while this isn't true Marisu, we are borrowing from how we would fill the spaces of that spiral. And I suppose this space right here wasn't really part of this spiral, but I like the way it looks, so it will stay. The name Marisu comes from Maria's three sisters, Madeline, Rachel, and Sue. So the first two letters of each of their names. But I have been on a campaign for a few years now to rename this tangle Marisu Ju, so Madeline, Rachel, Sue, and Julie, adding that J-U at the end to it because it is my favorite. So when you're uploading these to online or the Zentangle Mosaic app, you can use the hashtag Marisu, and you can use the hashtag MarisuJu if you want. So now I've finished adding all my bars, and you can see here, I didn't mention this before, but you can go back and do it. I've added a little rounding to the top of each one of these bands going across to make it kind of look like it's going over the string. So you can just round the top a little bit. Well, once you have all your bands, you can put your cap on your micron and you can pick up a gel pen. I'm going to pick up this fun yellowy orange color. It looks kind of like a creamsicle. You can take a second if you need to warm up your gel pen on the back. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to aura each side of this band. You just need a light touch with these gel pens and let the ink flow right out of them. And I'm going to add a band or add an aura on each side of each of my bands. Taking my time, turning my tile if I need to. Remembering to breathe And there we have our spiral. So now we're going to take a moment to begin to shade. And I'm going to start with the Van Dyke Brown chalk pencil from General Pencils. These wonderful pencils that I've had a lot of fun working with over the years. I'm going to go to my Hollabod and Zeppel, and I'm going to add just ever so lightly some of this brown pencil on the inside of each of these orb shapes that I have squished in between my Hollabod. And I'm using my pencil on somewhat of an angle, so I'm using the side of the tip. And once you have all your pencil down, you can grab your tortillon. You want one just for your brown pencil. I'm going to go and soften that graphite around each space. But you see, I'm not pulling the graphite, I'm sorry, it's not graphite, the chalk pencil all the way to the middle. I'm leaving that light space. And once I am done with that, I'm going to pick up my graphite pencil. And I'm going to come back to the Ensemble de Hollabod, but first I'm going to move on to my Marisu spaces. And I'm going to add graphite, and I'm adding quite a bit of graphite to the top and bottom of these spaces. And now that I have all my graphite down, I'm going to pick up a tortillon that's just for my graphite. And I'm going to go back and soften all of this graphite on both the top and bottom, being sure to leave that middle space white. We want to leave the highlight. We need both the dark and the light. One of my favorite things about Marisu, why I love it so much, is that the shading is just so magical on it. It immediately begins to take a whole new shape once you start adding those areas of light and dark. You can see already that just adding that graphite, leaving that highlight in the middle of our spirals really makes that Marisu pop off the page. But we're going to give it a little bit more pop by grabbing our General's white charcoal, this magic little wand, and I'm going to add a highlight going down the center of my Marisu. I'm being pretty heavy-handed with my white charcoal, and so you might want to have your sharpener ready. And you can see it just makes those faces pop. Gives it so much dimension. And I love the softness of the Hollabod next to the boldness of the Marisu. And I really just love that brown in the middle. But to make the Marisu pop just a little bit more, I'm going to take my graphite pencil and I'm going to add it ever so softly. So where I was very heavy-handed on the Marisu, I'm now just very softly adding some to the top and bottom of the spaces with my Hollabod. And I'm going to go back with my tortillon, gently just soften it just a bit, pull it out just a bit. Again, this is just to push those spaces with the hollow bar down a little bit more to bring the Marasu up just a little bit more. So we're very dramatic with our Marasu shading, very soft. And I'm just going to take my torchon, which has a lot of graphite on it, so I'm not even going to add any pencil, but I'm going to add to shade these ends here, just to give it a little dimension. Again, I'm not adding any more graphite to my tile. I'm just using the graphite that's already on my tortillon. And there you have it. You can grab a pen. I'm using my brown micron. And you can add your chop. I'm adding it into one of these little orbs because I always add it inside a circle. So we'll just add it right there. Sign the back. Take a moment to admire your work. Another moment for gratitude and appreciation. So thank you so much, everybody, for tangling along with me today. I can't wait to see all of your tiles online and on the Zentangle Mosaic app and what else you create during this really fun series.